Hello everybody! Welcome back to another episode with Question with Abuna. Today we have our favorite Abuna Elijah with our questions answered by Gabriel, Bethina and Grace. Gabriel, what's your question for Abuna today?
Why do all angels have boy names?
Ooh, is that because your name is Gabriel?
So that's a very good question and a very tough question actually to answer, Gabriel. It's important for us to remember that the angels, they are different creatures to us. They are not humans, and to my knowledge, I don't think that the angels are actually have a gender, they're boys or girls. So that's very important. And all the different ranks of the angels, we hear about them in the liturgy. The cherubim worship you, and the seraphim glorify you, and then it goes on, and so there's principalities and powers, and a lot of these references to angels we get from the writing of St. Paul, especially in 1 Corinthians. So the angels are there, and we can't see them, and they are creatures created by God to worship Him. We have guardian angels, but they're not like us in terms of having a body and having a gender, being a boy or a girl. And so yes, Michael and Gabriel and Raphael, they are clearly boys' names. I don't know any boys or girls that are named Sarathiel and Ananiel, so who knows?
Thank you, Abuna, for your answer. That's a really, really good question, Gabriel.
Why do girls wear scarves during Holy Communion?
Ooh, that's a good one, Abuna. Why not boys not wear scarves too?
So this is a reference to St. Paul writing in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 about the crown or the glory of men and women. And St. Paul writes that, look at your beautiful long hair, you and Grace. It's like a crown. It's beautiful long hair. And so when we are in church, then we cover that crown because it's out of modesty and out of respect for God. You know who else sometimes has a very glorious hat that they have to sort of take off? The bishop. Have you ever seen the bishop's really beautiful hat when they're praying the liturgy? But when the gospel is being read, the bishop takes off his hat, takes off his crown, right? Saying that we are now in the presence of God, in the presence of glory. How can I wear a crown? So your hair is your crown, and in the presence and the glory of God, out of being modest and being humble, we cover that crown because we're in the presence of a king.
Thank you, Abuna.
If there was a flood that happened again, does that mean God isn't real?
So that's a really beautiful question, Grace. And I guess what you're referring to is the promise that God made to Noah, saying that I will never allow a flood like this again. And then the sign of that promise was a rainbow. And so it's very important for us to be specific in understanding what God's promise was. He didn't promise that there would never be a flood ever again. Because my kitchen's been flooded before, my bathroom's been flooded before, and maybe many of you at home have had issues like that. What His promise was that He would never allow a flood like the one that happened in the days of Noah, one to destroy the whole earth, one to be... So I'm not sure about you, but I certainly haven't heard of any floods involving the whole earth ever since the time of Noah. And that's a really beautiful... what I love about this question as well, Grace, is it reminds us that God's promises are true. When God says something, He means it. And if God said something and then it turned out not to be true, then He's not God. So whenever you're reading the Bible and reading the promises of God, then you can be 100% sure that they are true. Because if they're not, then God isn't God. But we know that He is there in heaven, protecting us and looking after us. So let's hold on to those promises together when we read the Bible.
Thank you, Abuna. Thank you so much. So, thank you, boys. Thank you, Abuna, for coming to today's episode. And until next time, bye. I'll see you later, and we'll see you next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.